Okay, I am going to start this by saying that I am going to try my best to recreate this exactly, although it's not going to happen because at this point I gave this speech like several hours ago and I only practiced it like twice, and it's going to be awkward because I'm just talking to my phone, but I'm trying to give it exactly how I gave it to the class. But we'll see. And yes, it's a long one. Alright. I'm willing to assume that the large majority of people in this room have had alcohol at some point in their lives. Is there anyone in this room who has never had alcohol before? And when I asked this, 2 people raised their hands. And I pointed at them and said, good job, great for you, never start. I'm about to tell you why alcohol is terrible. According to the National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism, 86.4% of people above the age of 18 have had alcohol at some point in their lives, 56% of them being within the past month. 88,000 people have died from alcohol-related causes in this country annually, making alcohol the 3rd leading preventable cause of death in the United States. Now I'm going to discuss 3 main points about alcohol. The first one being why people drink and how people drink for a variety of different reasons. The second one is the seriousness of alcohol. And the third being how there are plenty of other things to do other than drinking. Now, why do people drink alcohol, you ask? People drink because they like the way it makes them feel and they're stressed. People usually start drinking because they like the numbing feeling it gives them and they want to just temporarily go away from all their problems. They're really stressed out with work or school or something, so they just want to have a drink to just numb themselves and just forget. And this sounds like a great idea in theory, but in reality it doesn't work so smoothly. There are the obvious effects it has on your body, but even mentally, oftentimes you feel worse after you drink than you did before you even started, just making it a terrible option. People also drink because of past experiences they may have had with it. Maybe last time they drank they had a really fun time, so they're drinking now in order to have fun. They think that you need to drink in order to have fun, which is obviously not true, but people do think that. And also because of peer pressure. We don't want to admit it because we're adults and we want to think we're above that, but really we aren't. We still fall victim to peer pressure. Maybe some of you have gone to a party and you're telling yourself, oh, I'm not going to drink tonight, but you find out that you are the only one who's not, and of course you want to fit in, so you're going to drink to be like the rest of them. But I'm here to tell you, you don't have to be like the rest of them. It's not always a good thing to be a follower because alcohol is seriously dangerous. Which leads into my second point of all of the terrible effects alcohol has. People know that it's bad and they know alcohol is a drug and everyone says don't drink and drive, but you're not safe drinking at home either. Now there are some less serious effects such as hangovers and just overall sickness, weight gain. I'm sure everyone's heard of a beer gut, and blackouts. Blackouts kind of tend to go into the more serious side, but in the grand scheme of things and everything that could happen to you, they fall and are not so serious. The ones you should really need to look out for are the serious ones, which can range from alcohol poisoning, alcohol hepatitis, jaundice, liver disease, and kidney failure. For those who don't know, alcohol poisoning occurs when someone consumes too much alcohol and they start to feel confused and disoriented, and it often leads to them passing out. It could go in a coma, have to be hospitalized, or can even die. Whereas alcohol hepatitis is the inflammation of the liver due to alcohol consumption, which then leads to jaundice, which is the yellow coloring of the skin. And jaundice is basically just a visual sign that the liver is failing. So if you see someone who has like a slight yellow tint to them, even if they have like yellow undertones, if they are looking bright yellow and sickly, they need to seek medical attention immediately because their liver is failing them and they don't have much time. All of this sounds really crazy and it all sounds like statistics, like, oh, this happens, but it's 1 in a million. And I'm here to tell you it's not 1 in a million. It's more common than people want to believe. Now, my mom started drinking more when she was probably around 30, after me and my brother had already been born. It started off really casual. She wouldn't drink all the time, maybe some wine or some vodka every now and then. But then it started to escalate when things would go bad at work. She would come home and drink. If she would get in a fight with someone, she'd drink. If me and my brother were being hard to handle, she would drink. And it just snowballs and it escalates. And then she was drinking all the time. She was drinking in the morning, after work, before bed, constantly drinking. And she was able to do this for several years without any sort of consequence. Her body was still fine. She was still functioning fine. I mean, no one really thought she was fine, but she did, and she kept going because there were no physical signs that any damage was being done. So she does this for many years. 2016 is when she starts to realize she has a problem. Late 2016, she knows she wants to get help because she is distancing herself from everyone. Everyone's distancing themselves from her. She's having no energy. She could hardly get up off the couch. She can't brush her hair. She can't stomach food. The only thing she could really consume was alcohol. If she had any food, it would make her feel sick. It just snowballs and it escalates. And then she was drinking all the time. She was drinking in the morning, after work, before bed, constantly drinking. And she was able to do this for several years without any sort of consequence. Her body was still fine. She was still functioning fine. I mean, no one really thought she was fine, but she did, and she kept going because there were no physical signs that any damage was being done. So she does this for many years. 2016 is when she starts to realize she has a problem. Late 2016, she knows she wants to get help because she is distancing herself from everyone. Everyone's distancing themselves from her. She's having no energy. She could hardly get up off the couch. She can't brush her hair. She can't stomach food. The only thing she could really consume was alcohol. If she had any food, it would make her feel sick. And mind you, no one was living with her at this point. My brother and I were with our dad, so it was just her. But my brother would visit her pretty often. And so she's going through all of this, and so she decides that she is going to cut alcohol cold turkey. She's just going to stop. And she's telling my brother this. And 2 weeks after she says she's going to stop drinking alcohol, he goes over to her house for a natural visit because she had been saying how much worse she has gotten, and she just can't move, doesn't leave the house, can't even leave the couch anymore, could hardly go to the bathroom, things like that. And when he walks into the house, he sees her bright yellow with sores all over her body. And he's just 16, he doesn't know what's happening. So he calls me and my aunt and asks what he should do, and we explain to him that it's serious and she needs to go to the hospital immediately. So he gets her in the car. They go down to the hospital where she stayed. The next day, she turned 44 in the hospital, and the day after that, October 28th, is when the doctors came to the room and told everyone that she was going to die. She was definitely going to die, and there was nothing anyone could do about it. They said she had alcohol hepatitis. Her liver was completely failing, pretty much useless at this point, and her kidneys were in overdrive mode to try to compensate for the liver. And so all of us are asking these questions like, why is there nothing we can do? Why can't she get kidney dialysis or a liver transplant? When kidney dialysis, there's kind of no point to it because the real problem is the liver. So fixing the kidneys is just a matter of time before the kidneys go right back to where they were because the liver's not working. And they couldn't do a liver transplant because to get on the list, you have to be sober for 6 months, be in treatment for 6 months. She had only been sober for a few weeks. And that's when my grandparents started offering up their livers. They said they still wouldn't even do the transplant if she hadn't been sober that long. And the odds of her living through it were slim to none anyway. And so there were basically no options at that point. She was going to die, and the doctor said she had 4 to 6 weeks to live, but probably less. And he was spot on. She died on November 29th. So from the point that my brother went into the house, saw her yellow, took her to the hospital, it took exactly a month for her to die. Only a month. From when he saw her yellow to her death was only a month. Now, according to the NIAAA, in 2015, 47% of liver disease deaths were due to alcohol. Now, this is including all the deaths. Even little kids who get liver disease, people get liver disease from other causes. Half of them were due to alcohol. Just this simple drink, half of the deaths. Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration defines heavy alcohol use as binge drinking on 5 or more days in the past month. Now, what is binge drinking? What is excessive drinking? Well, excessive drinking is 3 to 5 drinks at one time. That is too much. That is excessive binge drinking. What is one drink? One drink is 12 fluid ounces of beer or 8 ounces of malt liquor. One drink is also 5 ounces of wine. And it is also 1.5 shots of tequila, rum, or vodka. All of these are just one drink. So if you're saying, oh, I'm not a heavy user, I only like to drink on the weekends. If you're having 5 of these on like Friday and Saturday every week, you are a binge drinker. If you are drinking 2 cases of beer, if you are drinking 3 glasses of wine, I hate to break it to you, but you are a heavy user. You are doing damage to your body that you don't even know is happening. Now, there's so many other things you can be doing other than drinking, which leads me to my third point. Meditation and exercise work wonders. I know it's so cliche and everyone knows how good these are for you, but it is true. Exercise releases endorphins, which makes you happier and calmer and less stressed. But if you have a serious anxiety or stress problem, it is important to go to a doctor to try to get prescribed something to help with the stress so you don't feel the need to resort to this drink. And it's also important to spend time with positive people in your life, maybe other people who don't drink, people that make you happy, try to find new hobbies. This is including all the deaths. Even little kids who get liver disease, people get liver disease from other causes. Half of them were due to alcohol. Just this simple drink, half of the deaths. Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration defines heavy alcohol use as binge drinking on 5 or more days in the past month. Now, what is binge drinking? What is excessive drinking? Well, excessive drinking is 3 to 5 drinks at one time. That is too much. That is excessive binge drinking. What is one drink? One drink is 12 fluid ounces of beer or 8 ounces of malt liquor. One drink is also 5 ounces of wine. And it is also 1.5 shots of tequila, rum, or vodka. All of these are just one drink. So if you're saying, oh, I'm not a heavy user, I only like to drink on the weekends. If you're having 5 of these on like Friday and Saturday every week, you are a binge drinker. If you are drinking 2 cases of beer, if you are drinking 3 glasses of wine, I hate to break it to you, but you are a heavy user. You are doing damage to your body that you don't even know is happening. Now, there's so many other things you can be doing other than drinking, which leads me to my third point. Meditation and exercise work wonders. I know it's so cliche and everyone knows how good these are for you, but it is true. Exercise releases endorphins, which makes you happier and calmer and less stressed. But if you have a serious anxiety or stress problem, it is important to go to a doctor to try to get prescribed something to help with the stress so you don't feel the need to resort to this drink. And it's also important to spend time with positive people in your life, maybe other people who don't drink, people that make you happy, try to find new hobbies, just anything to get your mind off of drinking. Because if you're happy or doing something else, you'll see that you don't need the alcohol. And for people who are already alcoholics, there are a ton of ways you can help yourself out there by doing these simple things. Everyone, I'm sure, has heard of Alcoholics Anonymous. There are other treatment programs and rehabs that are available to you. Now, I know some of you are probably sitting there thinking, this is never going to happen to me. I'm not a heavy user. I'm not going to get like that. But I'm here to tell you that no one thinks that's going to happen. There is not a single alcoholic. Every single alcoholic says, I'm not going to be an alcoholic. That is not going to be me. No one expects to be an alcoholic. No one wants to be one. No one plans to be one. It happens. It snowballs. Alcohol is a drug. Once you start, it is extremely hard to stop. It can be done, but it is important to try to catch it as early on as you can, because by the time my mom decided she wanted to stop drinking, the damage was done. It was too late at that point, and you certainly don't want to get there. Now, not every single person who drinks is going to be this severely harmed and injured. You're probably thinking about how, like, you have an uncle that drinks cases of beer all the time, or your mom drinks wine every day and she's perfectly fine. But that's not true. Even though not everyone is going to die, like, in such a drastic way, they are damaging themselves. All of their organs are being ruined. They're not working properly. Even if you feel fine physically, I can assure you they are not working properly inside, and it is only a matter of time before they start deteriorating. Yes, this is supposed to scare you. This should scare every single person in this room because it affects every single one of you. Not a single person is safe. I wouldn't wish this. I wouldn't wish what she went through or what any of us have gone through regarding it on anyone. She didn't deserve it. None of us deserve it. You guys don't deserve it. There are so many better things to do other than alcohol. So trust me, put the drink down, because I'm telling you right now, it's not worth it. Thank you. So yeah, that's how that went, kind of. For reference, all of these drinks that I had were actually in clear bottles, and they had different colored drinks in them, but I threw them out after class because I forgot that you wanted me to remake this, so these are just random glasses. But yeah, everyone else's were about, like, it was supposed to be a persuasive speech, and mine was by far the most persuasive. Like, I have all my critiques right here, like from my professor and stuff. All of them were really positive. Like, I got an A on it. But the one that people said was that, like, they got mad at me when I said don't worry about a blackout, and like how blackouts are like actually pretty serious, but I don't think they understood what I was saying. Like, they're serious, but not in like the grand scheme of things. Like, freak accidents happen during blackouts, which are like they're a lot less common than like alcohol poisoning and things like that. So I just think they misunderstood what I was saying. But yeah, I mean, I'd say it went pretty well. I got all of these really great responses. And my phone's not letting me switch the camera. But yeah, that's that.